Showtime is here, no time to fear. Carell is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Carell is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
Well, the United States has removed a dictator that it installed, and now there is war in the Middle East. What's the end game? What's it going to cost us? I'm going to talk about this and so much more today on The Carell Show, so don't go anywhere, people.
Now it's showtime.
Good morning. It is The Carell Show. I am Carell. So very glad you are joining me on this Monday, March 2nd. February be gone, honey. March is already here. March Madness. Oh, look, you can see my microphone. We can't have that. Oh, well, maybe we can. There we go. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. All right, there we go. Sorry. Can't have things dangling over my head any more than necessary. Isn't it great being a one-man show? Got to do it all yourself. Where's my techie? Crew. All right. You know, last night I thought that the SAG-AFTRA awards were kind of tone deaf, even though I voted on them, because, you know, there's a war raging. And I don't want to say they totally ignored it, but they totally ignored it. And it's appalling to me. In fact, this entire weekend was filled with nothing but appalling things. And you know, okay, so let's start with the most important thing on my mind, and it's not the Iranian war. 7 minutes ago, I got off the phone with my sister. On Friday, she was admitted back to the ICU and flown again. This girl's been on more helicopters than Cher. Flown from Verde Valley off to a hospital in Phoenix. She presented with pneumonia and sepsis, two very common things that happen after you've been in the ICU, after you've had brain surgery, after you've been on a ventilator. She would not go to rehab, but they said that was okay, that she could go home. Well, it wasn't okay. And Friday, she was flown back to Arizona, to Phoenix, Mesa or somewhere, Tempe, I'm not sure which one. And in the ICU all weekend long. I pressured the doctor to get the tube out. The sooner they're extubated, the better they do. So they took it out this morning. So the nurse brought her a phone, and she immediately started screaming, "Where are you? Where's Infinity? I need help." And I said, "Roseanne," I explained to her the situation, where she was, that Infinity can't come until tomorrow, and that I have spent all that I can spend on going to I spent $3,400 going to Arizona. I did a spreadsheet. And I don't have, and I can't keep asking you guys to give so I can go off to Arizona. I'd rather we raise money for me to leave the country in June, July, August. And that's the truth. I'm thinking of launching a GoFundMe campaign to raise $30,000 to bring the show to Canada or some other country in June, July, and August. Because I just can't be here in Vegas for those months. Plus, the United States is getting ugly. And she was screaming as best she could on the phone, "No, I need help." She can't talk because of the ventilator having been down her throat, and it was sad, and I started crying. The show was almost late because I was sitting here in tears, feeling like a bad brother. Now, she's the one that chooses to live in the wilds of Arizona. I have asked her to live in Las Vegas countless times. She won't. She's the one that chose to go home and not to acute care rehab. So this is of her making. But you can't help but feel bad when you're the brother and she's screaming for you to be there. Not that I would be able to do anything. I mean, she's very sick. The sepsis is responding. And I guess the pneumonia is getting better. They took her off the vent. But, as family members, we're all put in odd or hard situations. I can't keep going out there. I can't. And I asked if she wanted to be transferred here to Vegas to be near me, and she said no. So she's got 5 kids. It's not my fault. None of them can get to her. But anyway, so that was on my mind right before the show. Not the Ayatollah Khomeini, not Trump and his illegal war, not the horrifying things that New Hampshire just did. New Hampshire is got a bill in front of their Senate that will make it illegal for teachers to teach that being gay is normal, punishable by a fine or imprisonment. America's gone to hell in a handbasket. And Trump is as evil to me as Khomeini is to the Iranians.
Visiting reallycorrell.com daily? You're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallycorrell.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Corel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Corel is the one that you need to know.
You know, one of my favorite interviews was President Carter. And it was President Carter that helped install the Ayatollah Khomeini. This guy didn't come from nowhere. The U.S. helped him. Now, if you're over 60, like me, you remember lining up for gas in like 1977, 78. You remember the odd, even license plates. So where if your license plate ended in an even number, you went for gas on an even day. You remember 5 and 6 hour gas lines. I was 15 at the time, so 1977. My parents would park the car in the gas line and leave me there and go home. And I would creep the car up until and then I would use the payphone to tell them I'm getting near, and then one of them would come so they could drive it home. So Khomeini told Carter, if you help me gain power, I'll lower gas prices. So we did. We helped Khomeini get power. Now he's been a horrible dictator for 42 years. Iran should have taken him out multiple times, but didn't. And Israel has hated him for 42 years of their, 80-year existence. And now, at the behest of Benjamin Netanyahu, Donald Trump, without consulting Congress, as you know, has launched an illegal war in the Middle East, which is escalating. They are retaliating by bombing their neighbors who had nothing to do with this. Britain this morning on the BBC, Keir Starmer, made it clear that they do not support what America is doing. And they are going to let us use their bases with the very limited function of taking out missile silos, because those missiles are actually harming British citizens in the region. But they do not, and he reiterated, they do not support this war, they do not support ongoing efforts, and they will not send British troops to help. Almost every other country, France, etc., has made it clear they do not support this. This was an illegal action and violated international law, and done at the behest of Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, Ayatollah Khomeini was a horrible man, and the world is a much better place without him. But there are those that would argue that so is Donald Trump, and the world would be better without him. There are those that could argue that so is Vladimir Putin, and the world would be better without him. So is Kim Jong-un, and the world would be better without him. Several African leaders of African nations are despots, and the world would be better without them. But countries don't have the right to go around and take out leaders that they don't like. That is not our job, our charter. That is not what we should be doing. But here we are. Now, we ain't got a pot to piss in. Everything the United States does is done with deficit spending, adding to the national debt. We don't have the money for this war. We are borrowing the money for this war from China and other countries because we are broke. We are trillions with a T. That's a number that your brain cannot even fathom. We are trillions of dollars in debt. This is like you being maxed out on every single credit card you have and then opening another line of credit to do something you don't need to do. And here we are. Here we are. So, what's going to happen? I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know. But I do know this. Americans are going to die. And Donald Trump doesn't care. Because his snotty-nosed little brat Barron is not serving in the military, just like Dad didn't serve in the military because they are cowards. It ain't Jared Kushner or his kids going over there. It ain't Barron Trump going over there. It ain't Don Jr. and his cocaine-laden nose going over there. Nope. It's poor kids. It's middle-class kids. It's people that enlisted in the military because they believed in defending America. This is not about defending America. Khomeini and Iran posed zero threat to America. Everything Donald Trump has been saying is a lie. Everything Pete Hegseth has been saying is a lie. They are liars. There is no threat to American soil. They don't have a nuke. They don't have a missile that can make a nuke reach us. And that's that. Are they a threat to Israel? Yep. But to us? No. And yet MAGA. I posted a video on Saturday on TikTok. It now has 150 comments calling me an idiot and praising Donald Trump. And praising the war. The same party that said they're the peace party. The president that so desperately wants a peace prize. FIFA tripping over themselves to give him a fake peace prize. That woman giving her her Nobel. And what has he done? Invaded Venezuela, removed their leader, invaded Iran, removed their leader. He is nation building. It is wrong. It is illegal. And Congress does fuck to stop him. Just does fuck to stop him. And so that leaves us in the middle. That leaves us right in the middle. You know? So here we have a president with no vested interest in this. His child is not going to be serving. As James Schnabel pointed out, the last one was Teddy Roosevelt that had kids serve. I don't think that's true, and I don't want to call James Schnabel out, but because he's very smart. But didn't Hunter Biden or Beau Biden serve in the military? I believe, but not in a battle. He didn't serve in a war. But he was in the military, right? Wasn't Beau Biden in the military? No, I could be wrong. I know he had a uniform and I think he was a veteran. But I don't think that he served in a battle under his father. So I'm not going to correct James Schnabel because he's always right. So, but I do know that Beau Biden was in the military. So he didn't serve in a war under his dad, but he did serve. So yeah. Yeah, not in combat. Right. I know not to mess with James. James knows his shit. So while we did have Beau Biden in the military, he's never served in combat. Prince Harry has served in combat in Afghanistan. So the royals, they have a claim to fame. So here we are. Are you happy? Your country started an unnecessary and expensive war this weekend that you're going to pay for in a multitude of ways. First of all, gas is going to skyrocket. It's just going to go up, up, up. So that's the first thing. Fuel cost. And when fuel costs go up, grocery costs go up. All costs go up when fuel costs go up. Restaurant prices go up because their food costs go up. Grocery store prices go up because their food prices go up because of the cost of transporting things. Even though airlines use a different kind of fuel, they still find a way to hike up their fares because of fuel prices. So you're going to pay for it. I'm going to pay for it. Also, terrorism is now a very real threat. Iran has a terror network across the globe. We've heard about it constantly. And they will activate it. And so now major buildings and major events are targets. And not just here, but in countries not supporting this. And why do you think so many countries are now being quick to say, we do not support this? We are not supporting Trump. We do not support this action. I don't know what we're going to do. He said yesterday out loud in the Oval that if we're at war, there can be no election. He is under the impression that we've never had elections during wartime because he doesn't study history and he has no idea about the Constitution. The Constitution does not give a pass on the elections to war. If we are at war, we will still have an election, whether he likes it or whether he doesn't, which are controlled by the states, not the feds. So there will be elections, even if he continues this war through the midterms. And Pete Hegseth said could be 2 weeks, could be 4 weeks, or could be 8 months. He is going to do everything he can to stay in power because he's Hitler. I'm tired of people saying he's not Hitler, he's not a Yes, he is. And he's behaving just like it. And the only people suffering are us. Look, I'm happy the Iranians are out dancing in the street because Khamenei's dead. Good for you. But I could care less, and that no one wants to say that out loud. Everyone wants to act like we support our Iranian friends. We could give 2 fucks about the Iranians. We have let them suffer for 40 plus years. We've had Democratic and Republican presidents in between that time that all could have liberated the Iranians. We have not. We care about their oil and their proximity to Israel. That's all we care about. And the Strait of Hormuz, which they control. That's all we care about. We don't care about the Iranian people. Are you kidding me? If we cared, we would have deposed the very man that we put into power. And is it okay now for countries to kill leaders they don't like? Does that mean if the UK gets tired of Donald Trump, it's okay to bomb the White House? Imagine. I mean, MAGA's a threat to the world, so is Donald Trump. If a nation decides that he is too much of a threat and they want to take him out, and they do, how would we react? Well, half of us with gratitude. But truly, we have attacked a sovereign nation, 2 now, Venezuela and Iran, and removed their leader. That's like another country coming here and removing ours. We wouldn't take kindly to it. So I'm happy that the Iranians are dancing in the street and, oh, he's ding dong, the witch is dead. You had 42 years to kill him yourself. And it's not our job. He was not a threat to us. Was he horrible? Yeah. Is it horrible the way he treated his people? Yep. Did he deserve his fate? Absolutely. Were we the ones that should give it to him? No. No. Not now, not like this. We did this for Israel. So here we are. Here we are. We have an illegal president launching an illegal war. We have a Congress with its thumbs so far up their butts they could do the colonoscopy that Phineas is having today. We have a war that's going to cost billions and billions of dollars and American lives that no one asked for, no one needs, and doesn't put America first. So MAGA, I call bullshit on you and your president. Bullshit. Shut the fuck up, MAGA. You're a bunch of brain-dead fucking morons if you support this guy now. He's all over the Epstein files. So what does he do? Launch a war. Why? So you'll ignore the Epstein files. This is all just a distraction. He doesn't want you proving to the world that he sleeps with underage girls, because he does. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing this. There's no reason other than he wants you distracted from the Epstein files. They were getting too much press. They were getting too much play. You know who's not in the Epstein files? Black people and gay people. We ain't in the Epstein files. You know why?
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
Meanwhile, you know, this weekend, I gotta tell you, this weekend, I wanted the fuck out. I really did. I wanted the fuck out of the United States. Because, first of all, this war. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to pay more at the gas pump because of it. I don't want any American that I know, and I have several friends in the military, I don't want them dead. I'm sick the fuck of this guy getting us into wars we don't need to be. Meanwhile, in New Hampshire, this is real. This is real. The House has passed a bill banning leftist indoctrination and LGBTQ teaching in public schools. The New Hampshire House Republicans moved forward a bill that attempts to regulate teaching on race, history, and gay issues in public schools. When this bill passes, they cannot teach that slavery was done by white people to oppress black people. They can't teach that anymore. They have to put a positive spin on slavery. Known as the Charlie Kirk Act. Yep, you heard it. Named after conservative fascist Charlie Kirk, it would prohibit schools from engaging in indoctrination of critical theories or related practices that promote division, dialectal worldviews, critical consciousness. Isn't that what we can hope that people would have? Critical consciousness? Or anti-constitutional indoctrination. Right now in schools that you and I fund with our tax dollars, children are being subjected to critical race theory. Meaning pointing out that white people are horrible. And radical gender ideology. Meaning we should accept our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. Wow. Wow. And this is passing. This is passing in New Hampshire. The governor has said he will sign it. Meanwhile, we're taking over Iran. We'll probably take over Cuba. He's starving out Cuba. We took over Venezuela. You know? And all this puts America first? No. It puts America's billionaires first. It puts moneyed interest first. Doesn't put you or I first. He's out spending money like a drunken hooker. With a platinum card that belongs to the trick. And we're left with the bill and the damage. It's not him in harm's way in Dubai. It's not him in harm's way in Jordan or Israel. No, he's fine. It's not Barron in harm's way. It's not Melania. No. No one he cares, well, he doesn't care for anybody, but nobody he knows is in the war. No. Same with Pete Hegseth. Put on a fucking uniform, Pete, and get to the Middle East. You're so supportive. Put down the beer and your frat house friends and get the fuck to the Middle East, you queer wannabe. Pete Hegseth so wants to have sex with a man, I can just tell. I can tell. Meanwhile, Mike Johnson, you inept piece of shit, step aside and let somebody actually do your job since you're not. I help pay your salary. Get the fuck out. Yesterday, Stepanek told the Wall Street Journal that if the vote was held today to put Mike Johnson in as speaker, he wouldn't win. He does not have the support of his caucus. Because now they know he's one of the reasons they're going to have a bloodbath in the midterms. And they're all expecting it now. Why do you think Trump wants to stop the election? Every indication is Democrats are going to take the House and the Senate. And yes, impeach this bastard for what he did this weekend alone. As his own pundits said this weekend on Fox News, that if Democrats win, they would impeach him for this alone. Because going to war without the approval of Congress is illegal. It's a high crime and misdemeanor, which is why he could be impeached. But would Mike Johnson dare do his job? Oh, fuck no. He's too busy monitoring his kids' porn on an app or logging into Grindr. So, this is where we are. It's a sad state. It is a sad, sad state. And the anti-gay sentiment in this country is growing every day, and I'm not here for it. And quite frankly, I don't want to be here for it. I wouldn't mind getting out. I wanted to go to Mexico, and then it exploded. Puerto Vallarta, like for a year, go live in PV. Because I just can't. It's not just Trump, it's his fucking idiot supporters. Go read the comments under my TikTok. Go read what these people. You're an idiot. You're a moron. You're a fucking fag. Pretty soon. And they're saying things like, pretty soon you gays are going to be rounded up so we won't have to deal with you. That's their plan. Project 2025's plan is to round up gays. And they are moving towards it. ICE will start coming for gay people next. You don't think so? Oh, no, Carell, that'll never happen. Bullshit. It's going to happen. Unless someone stops this lunatic, and soon, it's only going to get worse. Right now, Trump is worse for the world than Khomeini was. Oh, well, they killed their protesters. We kill ours. And where's the outrage over all that? 2 Americans were shot in the fucking face by ICE. We've heard nothing about it. It's as if it didn't happen. You can't even remember their names. Do you know their names? Renee Good and... Who was the guy that got shot? Renee Good and... You don't know. Forgotten. Meanwhile, in Austin, another mass shooting, 3 dead, 14 wounded. A gay guy in Orlando shot last week in front of a gay bar and killed. It's happening again. What's Trump doing about it? Nothing. He's too busy chasing down people that shouldn't be chased down. What a fucking mess. Alex Credit, you're right in the chat room. Good for you. Good for you. Of course, my listeners are very, very smart. That's why they support me at patreon.com/Willie Carell. Patreon.com/Willie Carell. Become a patron of the show. That's why they chat with me at youtube.com/Willie Carell.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Carellcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Carellcast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Carellcast on your favorite streaming service. listening to the Carell Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy.
Now it's your time.
Trump says Iran operations likely to last 4 to 5 weeks, but be prepared to go far longer. Yeah, like the midterms. Like, 8 months. Wow. Just wow. People, what's left to say? I ask you, and I'm being serious here. Every day there is a bigger crime. Every day a bigger absurdity. Every day a bigger dodge. Because after all, the more he wags the dog, the less we talk about him going to jail over the Epstein files. Bill Clinton has testified about the Epstein files. Donald Trump has not. Hillary Clinton has testified about the Epstein files. Donald Trump has not. Neither of them are mentioned in the Epstein files more than Christ in the Bible. Donald Trump is. What, as a talk show host, what is there left to do except every day come on here and play absurdity after absurdity after absurdity? Because it's not gonna end. No one's gonna stop him. Congress ain't gonna stop him. Oh yeah, Tim Kaine has a war powers bill. It will never see the light of day because even if it passed the House and Senate with bipartisan support, Trump will veto it. So that means it's got to get 60 votes in the Senate to override the veto. Congress refuses to do their job. So we have an inept Congress, an insane president, who feels that he can just do whatever he wants. I want to launch a war? I'll launch a war. He said himself, if he wants to destroy countries, he will. He said that. And yesterday he said if we're at war, there'll be no election. That's not constitutional, but since when does he care? So what's left? I love entertainment. And I tried to watch the SAG-AFTRA Awards last night. The Actor Awards. I was supposed to go to a party for them here in Las Vegas because I'm on 2 committees for SAG-AFTRA here in Las Vegas. So I was supposed to go to the viewing party. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't. And I could barely watch because it just felt wrong to sit and watch high-paid millionaire actors congratulate themselves and wear all of their finery while we are literally dropping bombs on innocent people and launching an illegal war. It felt wrong. And I've never felt that way in my life about Grammy, Oscar, Emmy. In fact, I've always felt the opposite, that we need this entertainment distraction from all the horror of the world. That we need a space where that doesn't touch. And Hollywood has often been that space. Oscars went on during wartime, although many movies were made about the wars, and the stars in attendance, paid tribute to troops and things like that. Last night was kind of tone deaf. No one mentioned it. Sean Astin said, we pray for peace, and that's it. Not one speech mentioned the war. Nothing. It's as if it wasn't happening. Okay. I think it's great. The guy from Shark Tank was there wearing a $19 million baseball card or basketball card around his neck that Tiffany and Company had put 100,000 pounds of diamonds around or whatever. Okay, great. I know where the awards were held. People were starving just a block away. This guy's wearing a $20 million necklace. It's tone deaf. It's why people hate Hollywood. They're having a roaring 20s and 30s theme. Yeah, the Great Depression. Nothing says happiness like that, right? So it felt almost wrong to be watching it. And I was happy for all the winners. Delroy Lindo gave an emotional speech. Harrison Ford gave an emotional speech. I mean, I was happy for them. I really was. But I almost felt wrong for watching it. Did you watch? Did you feel wrong for watching it? Like, there's a war going on and I'm here rooting for the pit.
If you're not visiting reallycorrell.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes, at reallycorrell.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Corel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Corel is the one that you need to know.
Truly, how do y'all feel about that? They couldn't really postpone the awards. They didn't know he was going to launch it. Although, did you see on one of these betting apps that bet on future events, 17 minutes before the bombs fell, somebody bet $80,000 that in the next 2 hours we were going to war with Iran, and they made over $1 million on the bet. Now, TMZ, I am not making this up. TMZ was doing an interview with someone from a pub in D.C., and the guy said he just heard at the table next to him that we were going to war with Iran. This is before it happened. These idiots in the administration sat at a pub in D.C. openly talking about blowing up Iran, where TMZ heard at the next table. I am not making this up. It's on TMZ. You can go watch. The guy they were interviewing said, oh, I just heard something at the table next to me that if it's true, he goes, let's just say that something big is going to happen in Iran. So administration officials were not sitting in the Situation Room. They weren't sitting in a private room at the White House or the Pentagon. They were in a fucking pub in D.C. talking about what they were about to do. These are the most inept human beings known to mankind. I mean, this is not a cabinet. It's not even a drawer. It's not even a shelf. These are the biggest gathering of idiots that there has ever been in the White House. And that's saying something. But these people are just fucking crazy. And they're going to sit there and talk about this in front of TMZ. You cannot make this up. You can't. You can't make this up. So we have New Hampshire going crazy anti-gay with a law that says you can't teach that white people were bad to black people during slavery. You can't teach that being gay is normal. It's in the bill. You can't teach anything that would normalize LGBTQ people. Fuck New Hampshire. My dad was born there. Normally, the East Coast states are rather progressive, but not New Hampshire. Fuck that little state. So what is there really left to say about all this? I'm serious. What is there left to say about all this? No one's going to do anything to stop him. Congress, even if they try to stop him, they're not going to get the votes. And he has a time frame. The War Powers Act gives him a little window before, the curtain gets drawn. So, I don't mean to be silent. I don't. And I've been thinking so much about my life and how blessed I am to have you, the listeners, who bail me out financially every fucking time I need it, which is embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have Randy Radar or Sue or other people give me these donations. And then I can't even spend the money on something fun like my blender, which I did buy. I have to spend it on trips to go see a sister in the ICU who literally put herself there because she wouldn't go to rehab. So I've been thinking a lot about my life and your life and our life and the show. And I don't want a life where every day we just come out here and rehash what Trump does. Because if there's no end to it, if there's no way out. Look, the people of Iran for decades have felt like we do now. Khomeini was the leader. He had an iron grip on the military and police. If you acted up or acted against him, you were killed, beaten, or jailed. Pretty much like what's going on here now. And they felt powerless, the Iranians. And many left and came here and went to other countries because they just were powerless to stop Khomeini. They didn't have the social movement. They didn't have anyone in their military that would take him out. They didn't have people on their side in their country of power that could actually take the guy out. So many left, and others lived in frustration and fear. And it's been a horrible living condition for 42 years. It's been terrible to be an Iranian, unless you're an Iranian that sided with the hardline government, the theocracy, the Sharia law, and all of that. If that suited you, then you were a pig in crap. But if it didn't suit you, if you're a young person wanting to study, wanting to have culture and whatever, then if you were gay, if you were a woman, then it was a terrible place to be. Trump is turning America into Iran. In so much as if you don't agree with him and you are looking to people of power to deal with him, there's no one helping. There's no one that you can look to, no party that has enough political clout to do anything about him. The midterms could change that. They could. But there's a long 8 months between now and then. And so every day for the next 8 months, his crimes are going to get worse. And there are crimes against all humanity, including you and me. What he did this weekend is a crime against you and I. He's spending money we don't have, putting us in debt we cannot get out of. And he's doing it for Israel and not for us. In fact, the repercussions for us are higher prices for gas, for oil, for goods. It doesn't help us in any ways. Now, it was a terrible place, Iran, under Khomeini. Terrible. The people would be killed for being smart. You know, science was suppressed, but they're doing the same thing here now. They're suppressing science. They're defunding studies. It was just announced last week by Peter Hegseth that no member of the military can go to an Ivy League school. I repeat, the Secretary of Defense has made a rule that no member of the military can go to an Ivy League school because I guess they want them poor and dumb. And all of that's happening while we're not looking. Because they want sycophants in the military. No one in the military should have taken his order. The general should have said, well, do you have permission of Congress? Well, no. Well, then we're not launching a war. Our generals are betraying us. Our military is betraying us by siding with a war criminal, which Donald Trump now is. And I'm not calling him that. The rest of the world is. The UN has called him a war criminal. The BBC has called his acts illegal, thus a war criminal. The World Health Organization, they've all said what he has done has violated international law. That makes him a war criminal. And what is this war criminal going to keep doing? More crimes. Criminals commit crimes until they're stopped. He's not going to suddenly stop. And so do we have 8 months until the midterms? No, we don't. Everyone acts like the midterms are just around the corner. We're only at March 2nd. They are 8 months away, 240 plus days. Can you imagine the damage he can do in that time? By then, we will have taken over Cuba, Iran, Gaza, the Board of Peace. $10 billion to the Board of Peace, and the next thing he does is launch a war. Does he have to give that $10 billion to the war? No. But his Board of Peace is obviously a failure. And so, yeah, I have mixed feelings about Iran. I'm not sad that that Khomeini is dead. He's a horrible guy. It'd be like if Vladimir Putin dropped dead. I'd be playing Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. But that doesn't mean just because he is a wrong person that this is the right time to do this. There was a right way and a wrong way. Now, Israel's praising Donald Trump. Oh, they love him. You know, half of the people of Israel want to blow him. I mean, they just love him. And Iranians in America, they're loving him. Good for them. But we have a constitution. We have an order to things for a reason. And he ignored it. You know? And he ignored it. So, you know, what are we going to do? We're going to pay more for things. That's what we're going to do. You know, that's what we're going to do. We're going to pay more for gas, more for food, more for everything, more for heating. It's coming winter, or it's winter still, March. Although it was 85 here yesterday, going to be 80 today. So my air conditioner has been coming on, not my heater. So what do? Well, distract ourselves, I guess. You can't sit around and be depressed about it all day. You know? I don't know what. I would say save your money, but he'll probably make our currency useless here soon. He's going to be on all of it. I'm surprised he hasn't put himself on every dollar bill yet. Dollars, fives, tens, 20s. So what do? I guess we just wait and see. Hold our breath and hope for the best. 5 or 6 weeks of war, how much is that going to cost? I don't see anyone talking about how much 5 weeks of war cost. It ain't free. You know, it is not free. Meanwhile, authorities investigate mass shooting in Austin as a potential act of terrorism. From who? It happened before the Iranian bombing. So who is committing terrorism in Austin at a it's a domestic terrorist. It's a wacko with a gun. You know? Israel strikes Lebanon after Hezbollah rocket fire as Iran conflicts widen. Oh, it's just a great headline, isn't it? Meanwhile, Kuwait shot down some of our aircrafts in a mistake. Our pilots are safe. That's good. You know, that's really good. God. What do we do? What do we do? I guess we just hope. I think that's all that's left. I really do. Because there's no action we can take. We can call our senators. We can call them every day. But, you know, short of that, what else? We're like the Iranians under Khomeini. Until someone took him out, there wasn't much that they could do. They just didn't have the power. They had the power. So, you know, we're like the Iranians under Khomeini. There's not much we can do about the dictator in chief. We just have to live with it. Try not to die. You know? Last night they were all fuck ICE no, it was the NAACP Image Awards. The host said fuck ICE. Anyone heard what they're up to? Is this all just a distraction from what ICE is doing? Are they still on the streets? Are they still beating people, shooting people, arresting people without warrants, behaving unconstitutionally? Is that what's still going on? Who knows? There's so much other in the news, and that's intentional. It's intentional that we get distracted by things like Iran, so we ignore the Epstein files. We ignore ICE murdering people. We ignore what they're doing behind the scenes to drain our money out of our accounts and put it into theirs. It's all a grift. Trump's making money off Iran somehow. Somehow, Donald Trump and his companies are going to make money off of Iran. Or he wouldn't be doing it. There's not a drop of altruism in that man. Some deal has been made. What it is? I don't know. You can bet he made it. Absolutely. All right, we'll finish up when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
So I was just looking at some of the other headlines, and they're just really, they have video of Donald Trump talking about how weak the president was for attacking Iran or thinking about attacking Iran. The video is from like 5 or 10 years ago, where he basically calls himself an idiot for what he just did. It's amazing how his views have changed, which prove they're not his own. Donald Trump said he derided foreign entanglements, period. End of story. Now he's the queen of them. Look at NPR. Trump has spent years deriding foreign entanglements. Now he's taken the U.S. to war with Iran. Yep. America first. Someone said Lindsey Graham. Who was it? Kristi Noem or someone under oath just said everyone knows Lindsey Graham is gay? Someone under oath just said, well, everyone knows Lindsey Graham is gay. He is gay. It's a well-kept secret. Not. Meanwhile, New Hampshire, well, better not go to New Hampshire, Lindsey. They're making anti-gay laws there. I have a trans friend whose family is desperately trying to get her out of the country. They're contacting the Rainbow Railroad. The Rainbow Railroad, by the way, is an organization set up to help LGBTQ people around the world get out of bad countries. And America is now a bad country. Do you know today in 1955, 15-year-old Claudette Colvin refused to give up her seat on a segregated bus before Rosa Parks? 15-year-old little girl with glasses. Here she is. See her right there? 15-year-old Claudette Colvin refused to give up her seat on a segregated bus 9 months before Rosa Parks. God bless her. Today in 1836, Texas declared independence and seceded from the Union. In 1776, Washington began bombardment of the British-held Boston today. In 1904, today, Dr. Seuss was born. I will not eat green eggs and ham. In 1861, Texas seceded. So in 1836, they declared their independence, and in 1861, today, they secede. I wish they had stayed. In 1969, the Soviet Union and Chinese armed forces clashed today. In 1978, Charlie Chaplin's body was stolen. Wow. In 1966, Ford celebrated their millionth Mustang today. And in 1807 today, Congress abolished the African slave trade. And on the same day today, New Hampshire is trying to pass a law that says their schools can't teach that the slave trade was bad. Ain't that something? In 1929, Coolidge signs the Jones Act targeting bootleggers. In 1967, Kennedy proposed a plan to end the Vietnam War. And in 1917, today, Puerto Ricans became U.S. citizens and are recruited for the war effort. So Bad Bunny's country was granted citizenship today. I guess Trump missed that, and all the MAGA haters of Bad Bunny, guess they missed that they've been U.S. citizens for 109 years. I guess they missed that part. Today in 1943, the Battle of Bismarck began. Yep. And in 1944, more than 500 train passengers mysteriously suffocated. That sounds like a movie. I love my little todays in history. I love that. Have we learned from any of it? No. I love what Rachel says. 80% of Israel hates Netanyahu. 80% of America hates Donald Trump. And yet here we are being led by the nose by Netanyahu and Donald Trump. What kind of fucked up world is that? A majority of the United States, Trump has a 31% approval rating. That means that 69% of America do not approve of him. But he can launch a war. In Israel, about 80% of the people don't agree with Netanyahu, but he can commit genocide. And that's what they're doing to the Iranians. Isn't it weird the Jews became the people to commit genocide? Isn't that odd? The people who had genocide perpetrated on them have become the people committing genocide. Netanyahu committed genocide in Gaza, and now he wants an Iranian genocide. He wants them wiped out. He said so. Other Jews have said so. And they're mad. They chanted death to the United States and death to Israel. Well, if Israel and the United States are trying to kill you, what do you want them to chant? We are family? I mean, truly. How odd we live in a world where someone so unpopular, like Donald Trump, can make all the decisions. That is, I wish we were like the Brits and had a snap election option. I wish we could have a snap election right now. Just call a snap election and a vote of confidence. That's what they do over there. And if the person in charge gets a no vote of confidence, they have to have another election. I wish we could do a no confidence vote in this country. I really do. Because he'd be gone. 69% of the country don't like him. MAGA is a very loud but very small portion of America. And the sooner corporations and senators and political parties realize that MAGA is shrinking and that their popularity is waning, Britain, they don't care. Britain's like, we don't support this guy. We don't support what he's doing. France, same thing. We don't support this. They don't care anymore about pissing off Donald Trump because they know that his popularity is waning, that he has lost the country. So, am I glad Khamenei's dead? Of course I am. The guy was evil. But, am I happy we're in a war in the Middle East again? Oh my God, I am 63. I am so sick to death of the Middle East. I am. Andrew used to say, nuke it all and turn it to glass. That's what Andrew used to say. Now, I don't know if he was right about that or not, but I'm so sick of so much money. It's like the gay issue. We spend so much time and money on issues that don't really affect the entire world. All right, I am Carell. Be who you want to be, so don't hurt anybody. Let's hope that no Americans die today because of Donald Trump, but we'll see what tomorrow brings. See you tomorrow on the show.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Carell Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Carell Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Carell Cast on your favorite streaming service.
Showtime is here.